Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, just a quick recap on earlier analysis from today, and then of course just kind of some important key levels that we want to kind of be mindful of. So just keep in mind this bullish rectangle breakout is very positive in a lot of ways, but also should be used as a new support level. So hypothetically, this will be the new pivot point for Bitcoin. We'll keep an eye on that guy, and obviously this previous lower range of the rectangle as well, just kind of keeping perspective on those things so we can, help understand where prices may or may not bounce. Again, generally speaking, this fair value gap is just as low as that upper range here, or previous upper range, 68,000 essentially. So in a perfect world, the way it's supposed to work out with this nice little continuation of the staircase pattern, we want to see a bounce off 68K. So logically, 68K seems like a sound place to either spot position long or to essentially take a low leverage long position. Again, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. There's a lot of things that need to happen between now and then. Keep in mind we'd be testing the ascending trend line too if that happens. So bear in mind losing this trend line could essentially give us pause for concern for continuation lower. Okay. And there is, of course, 65 billion liquidation upwards of 69.5, but we saw almost, actually look at this, look how uncanny that is, $69,000 even. That's exactly why you set limit orders just below key fib levels and or round numbers so you can get filled on your position. So hypothetically, 68,950 would have been a better consideration for a take profit target than 69 even. Just kind of throwing it out there. Those are just little, pro tips, I guess you could say, when you're trying to get filled, because you're basically in line every time you set a limit order. And it's always better than a market order because you're going to get tons of slippage. Anyways, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Let's take a look at liquidation here. See if this has changed too much. It has actually, because we were upwards about 68.5 when we last looked at this. Now we saw that sweep of 69K. There's some shorts, both late and early, at 69.3, but round number 69.5 seems to be that area of consideration for heavy liquidation, but more importantly, reversal. I personally wanted to wait until 69.5 to take a short. Unfortunately, it never happened. I'm perfectly fine with it. Not a problem. But if we take a look here, we can see 69.3, 69.4, 69.5. There's a good still 20, somewhere range, maybe just say 30 to 40 billion if you round up to that 70K mark. But again, hypothetically, the price pushes up to 70K. I'm more than happy to consider a short position there because that's somewhat of a macro resistance too. That's what this red line up here is. 70,100 is really close to the highest, the local high, essentially the highest point in which we saw the price go back in July, late July. All right, and usually those areas are going to be like an initial resistance zone. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. Let's take a look at the daily and work our way down. We're above all moving averages. We have been for a while. This is nothing surprising, right? So we're going to be in this bullish uptrend, even if the price pulls back for some time. Now, honestly, the ascending trend line is a different story. It doesn't always have to run concurrent with the moving averages. So just say hypothetically we lose this current trend line here, it would give us a shift in momentum. Okay. Keep in mind the moving averages on the 4-hour time frame are going to reflect that a little better than the daily. The daily time frame pretty much tells us we got a ton of support at 63,000 or lower, which is true, but what's going to happen between now and then? It shouldn't free fall. I think hypothetically our local high over here, this guy right here at about 66,000, I'm rounding up a little bit, 65.8. This should be the new low. So hypothetically the price does pull back. I think that's a solid consideration for a support range for us. So I'll just go ahead and add that on the charts here too. So just kind of pulling out some of these areas here so we can kind of pay attention to them. There's three potential support areas as the price pulls back. All right. Now take a look at the daily, indicators or oscillators, whatever you want to call them here. These guys are telling us that we're getting close to being maxed out. Without breaking through 70 in the RSI here, there's a stronger likelihood we're going to see the price continue lower because that's a resistance range. We can also see the money flow index right there with it. MACD does show that we have good consistent momentum, so usually shorting into that isn't the greatest call. If you ever consider a short, again, you wait for liquidation to be swept and or overextension. But once again, both those things aren't really present at this exact moment, so not necessarily the best call. And again, what I mentioned earlier, shorting at 69.5 or 70K, those are heavy resistance zones based on liquidation and previous resistance. So, that and the fact that it's a pretty large round number, generally speaking, you're going to find success at least in short doses at areas like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour though. I just kind of recognize the ascending trend here, right? So you can see this 20-day SMA. running concurrent with this ascending trend. And again, while it's not exact, it gives us perspective on the fact that we're still on the right side of the tracks. Okay, so the 4-hour time frame has not shifted bearish whatsoever. In fact, it'll take a little while before that happens because this will probably start to average itself out. And if the price goes sideways and down and kind of hangs out at 68K, that may be a different story. But between now and then, we can presume the price will continue higher from here. There is a fair value gap below the price action down as low as 68,000. So my guess is 68,000 we may see as a pivot point for a potential long at that point. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a long exactly at that moment just because we'd be shifting momentum and it's a weekend. Keep that in mind. Friendly reminder, today is Friday. And generally weekends are very strange and unique when it comes to trading, especially when you have a green Friday. We've seen some pretty red Saturdays and Sundays to follow, okay? A lot of times it's a lagging, though. I would say that tomorrow we may see a continuation upside with the altcoins. That has happened a lot with a green Friday. We've seen some strong green Saturdays, but Sunday comes around. If tomorrow, just say for example, Saturday is a strong upside, if you will, I would expect some pretty significant correction come Sunday or Monday, right? When I say Sunday, I'm talking about Sunday nights when Asian markets open, or Monday morning when traditional U.S. markets open. Either way, we're still under 70 in the RSI, starting to taper off here, letting us know we've hit that resistance zone. Money flow index is coming up. That's a good sign. We can see MACD also starting to plateau, letting us know that the momentum of the upside is starting to dissipate. Okay, so generally speaking, these are mostly favorable signs, but still slowing its momentum, slowing its roll. So again, I would say taking a long at this point for Bitcoin just doesn't make a ton of sense. There's not a lot of meat left on the bone, if you will. Some altcoins are exuding similar behaviors. A lot of them are knee-jerk reactioning down when Bitcoin pulls back, and you just want to be careful with that. Okay, so we're talking like this is a small correction from Bitcoin. Okay, it's a 1% correction. A lot of alts came down 2 or 3% in that same time frame. So just be aware of that. Again, that correlation between Bitcoin and whatever altcoin you're choosing to trade, it's a very relevant thing. Take a look here at the Ichimoku Cloud, still in the green rather, basically just green light to leave your long position open. Within the next 12 to 24 hours though, if the lagging span intersects with the price action here, then that's a consideration for the price action to potentially come lower, or more importantly, consider closing your long position in profit. I would say that if you haven't already considered closing your long position in profit, you're probably doing it wrong, just based on how manipulative the market is right now. If you're in a high leverage long and you're in profit, what the heck are you doing? You're getting eaten up on fees every single day. You got to secure profit or you're going to lose, okay? The odds are always against you, and you can't always just have these magical entries. So just know there's some very real things going on. Having said that, though, everything else looks pretty favorable to the upside still, so by no means am I telling you to short. Just be cautious and careful if you take it long at this point. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me personally. Again, I like to buy transitions, so to speak. So if Bitcoin starts to give us this shift in momentum, we're going to start, we haven't been able to pass this threshold. I think, a short for Bitcoin soon may be a consideration, but right now on a Friday, it's pretty low odds of success for taking a long at this point. Once again, my opinion. What are your thoughts? Why don't you comment below? Let us know. But again, everything here together, we look at all this stuff together, and liquidation delta is still very high. In fact, let's refresh this here. Look at that. Goodness gracious. Now it's upwards of about 10, probably almost 11 billion there. That is way too much long liquidation delta. In other words, we have a tremendous amount of people taking longs at this point. What do you think the market makers are going to do when they see that? Well, they probably already see it, and they're just waiting for a lot of people to FOMO in right now. And with everybody stacking the bags here at 68,000, I really think we're going to see a little reset button hit here soon. Again, that's just me being realistic with everything on the back end here. While the regular charts are looking very bullish, and it's definitely a good sign, that's really what they want you to believe too. Plus the timing couldn't be more perfect, right? It's October, and we got election on the horizon. While those are generally good catalysts and the strong likelihood the price continues, when this happens, generally bad things occur on the back end as far as liquidation sweeps are concerned. So once more, if you have a high leverage long or short, you probably should be concerned right now, mainly because manipulation is going to be a factor here soon. If you're a low leverage and you've dollar cost averaged or whatnot, and you're averaging in and averaging out of your positions, it's probably a different story altogether. So just know, depending on how you're trading, it'll change the scenario. Everything is always different. Anyways, that's what I got. That's what I got for you. Hope this was beneficial. Thanks so much again for watching. To those of you who consistently comment or just like the videos, super thank you. You are amazing. And again, as a thank you too, I would just continue to be happy to do this for you. Really appreciate it, either way you look at it. I love this job. It's fantastic. So getting to work with some amazing traders is really awesome. So I'll update our playout chart here in a moment. Set it up on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Looks a little something like this if you're not familiar. Check it out in your own time. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.